Let's set the stage. It's 2013 and rock music is gasping for air. EDM rules the clubs, hip-hop runs the charts, and guitars feel like a relic of the past. Then, from the smoky corners of Sheffield and the desert haze of Los Angeles, a band once known for their frenetic anthems emerges transformed. Striding back into the spotlight with swagger, soul, and a slow, seductive groove, we have the Arctic Monkeys. Recorded at Rancho de la Luna with producer James Ford and Queens of the Stone Age's Josh Homme lending a ghostly hand, AM was not just a comeback, it was a reinvention, a fusion of rock, R&B, and late-night lust. It hit number 1 in the UK, cracked the US top 10, and made the Arctic Monkeys the biggest British band of their generation. This was rock, reborn for the midnight hour.
Have you got color in your cheeks? Do you ever get that feel that you can't shift, the tide that sticks around like summits in your teeth?
Welcome to Album Archives, where we dive into the top albums of all time, as voted on by fans of the Music Rewind podcast. I'm your host, Steve Epley, and today we're exploring the sick, seductive pulse of number 274, AM by Arctic Monkeys. Released in September 2013, this was their 5th studio album, and it marked a bold evolution. Gone were the scrappy teenage riffs of their debut, replaced with hypnotic rhythms, velvet vocals, and grooves that dripped like smoke. With hits like Do I Wanna Know, Are You Mine, and Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High. AM was the sound of rock adjusting its collar, straightening its leather jacket, and confidently walking back into the room. Now, let's step into the neon glow of AM.
Crawling back to you. Never thought I'd call and run. You like you, 'cause I always do. Maybe I'm too busy being lost to fall.
Back in 2013, the Arctic Monkeys had already conquered the UK, but they wanted something bigger. Their earlier albums, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not, Favorite Worst Nightmare, and Humbug, had evolved from lightning-fast garage rock to moody psychedelia, always evolving along the way. But AM was something new, sleek, sultry, and rhythm-driven. Alex Turner described it as a record you could put on at a party or in the bedroom. Influenced by Dr. Dre's low-end beats and the Black Keys' fuzzed-out guitar tones, the band crafted a sound that felt modern yet timeless, like Motown dipped in motor oil.
From the bottom of your heart, the relegation zone. I saw this coming from the start.
Why is AM so special? First, its sound. A dark, magnetic blend of hip-hop rhythms and desert rock atmosphere from a British band. Brilliant. The opening 2-1 punch of Do I Wanna Know and Are You Mine hits like thunder. Heavy, seductive, irresistible. Second, its songwriting. Turner's lyrics are sharp, poetic, and laced with nocturnal longing. Songs like Arabella and Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High turn late-night texts and bad decisions into pop art. And third, its mood. AM feels like a city after midnight. Sleek cars, dim lights, and temptation around every corner. One recording note, Do I Wanna Know was built on a slow, stomping beat inspired by Dre and the Black Keys, with Taylor layering falsetto harmonies and vintage reverb. It became the band's biggest US hit, spending over 60 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100 and introducing the world to a more mature, mysterious Arctic Monkeys. Then there's Why'd You Only Call Me When You're High, a song that captures the loneliness and self-doubt behind the swagger.
Left you multiple missed calls, and to my message you replied. Why'd you only call me when you're high? High. Why'd you only call me when you're high?
Step Out of It adds a playful bounce, while Arabella blends Sabbath riffs with soul harmonies, evoking both Hendrix and hip-hop in one breath.
The horizon tries, but it's just not as kind on the eye.
The production from James Ford is immaculate. Warm analog tones, thick bass, and drums that feel alive. Every sound is deliberate, every groove particularly placed. The tracklist flows with emotion. Fireside smolders with Unspoken Tension, I Want to Be Yours closes the record with a romantic whisper borrowed from poet John Cooper Clarke. And in between are moments of longing, lust, and reflection.
I'm not sure if I should show you what I found. Has it gone for good, or is it coming back around? Isn't it hard to make up your mind when you're losing and your fuse is by your side?
At 41 minutes, AM feels like a single, seamless mood. Smooth, smoky, and unforgettable.
I'm a puppet on a string, Tracy Island, time traveling diamond, could have shaped heartaches to come to find you, for in some velvet morning, years too late. She's a silver lining, Lone Ranger riding through an open.
Why does AM endure? First, it's reinvention. It's the sound of a band evolving without losing themselves, which is quite rare in music history. Second, it's versatility. It bridges genres, appealing to indie fans, R&B lovers, and classic rock diehards alike. Third, it's atmosphere. AM is more than music. It's a feeling. For me, this is the Arctic Monkeys at their coolest. Confident, redefined, and completely in control. It's an album that takes you somewhere, through dim alleys, flashing lights, and quiet 3 a.m. confessions. And when it ends, you're tempted to hit repeat just to stay in that world a little longer. AM went on to win British Album of the Year at the Brit Awards and became one of the best-selling vinyl records of the 2010s. It cemented Alex Turner as one of modern rock's most stylish frontmen and proved that guitars could still sound sexy in the digital age. Even a decade later, its grooves and mood continued to inspire, from the 1975 to the Arctic Monkeys' own follow-up albums. To quote Turner, "We wanted to make something people could dance to, but still cry if they needed to. Mission accomplished." If you haven't spun AM lately, grab a glass, dim the lights, and press play. It's a masterclass in cool. An album that whispers, growls, and seduces all at once. New to it, you're in for a ride that's equal parts swagger and soul. For me, not just one of the best albums of the 2010s, it's a reminder that rock and roll, when done right, never really goes out of style. That's it for this edition of Album Archives. If you enjoyed it, please share it with a friend and leave a review wherever you listen. Next up is number 273, Escape by Journey. Check out the top albums list on musicrewindpodcast.com/album archives to see where we're at and where we're headed. For now, I'm Steve Epley, and as I always say, listen to the full album. Until next time.
A podcast from the Sidereal Media Group. Back to you, anchors.
If you're into music, and if you're listening to my show, I know you are, I've got a podcast for you to check out. Gig Gab. Labeled as the show for working musicians, it's a fascinating and entertaining look behind the scenes at what it takes to put a live band on stage. Hosted by Dave Hamilton, he discusses everything from booking the gigs, getting paid, and working with the crowd, to prepping the band, learning the material, and managing the personalities involved. And while the show is said to be for musicians, a surprisingly sizable chunk of their audience are music fans who just love hearing about how the sausage is made. So if you're a fan of live music, playing it or watching it be played, be sure to check out Gig Gab at giggabpodcast.com or wherever you get your favorite shows.